Okay, all right, what's going on? What's good? We are going to get right into it. Welcome back again to another live stream. Now, I don't know, this is RTX. This is the RTX background remover, so it's going to glitch out a little bit. Now, I don't really know what happened to the Twitter Files 9. It was deleted while I was getting ready for the stream. I'm not too sure what happened with that, or if it really was even a drop from the Twitter files. So we're just going to move forward without that information, because I'm not 100% sure what happened with that. But we're going to go ahead and talk about drop. I have, let me see which ones I have up. I have 7 and 8. I want to start with 8 first, though, because 8 is the more recent. That actually dropped today. 7 was yesterday, and 7 had to deal with Hunter Biden. I don't really feel like talking about that right now, so I don't really think it's that important for what I want to talk about. So we're going to talk about Twitter Files Part 8, Part 7, and the supplemental documents after that, and we'll probably after that we'll probably go into 6 and thereafter, and move on from there. So let's go ahead and bring this down just a little bit more, and just see which one we got. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get into it. So Twitter Files Part 8 involves how Twitter quietly aided the Pentagon's covert online PSYOPs campaign. Oh my God. So this one's covering the PSYOP campaign, pretty much how Twitter was pretty much working with the government to, confuse the public. Okay, let's make sure I get my levels right. Just need to make sure I hear myself just a little bit. Okay, so we should be good now. So, despite promises to shut down covert state-run propaganda networks, Twitter docs showed that the social media giant directly assisted the U.S. military's influence operations. So, let me just flip this horizontal. Okay. So Twitter has claimed for years that they make concerted efforts to detect and thwart government-backed platform manipulation. Here is Twitter testifying to Congress about its pledge to rapidly identify and shut down all state-backed covert information operations and deceptive propaganda. So pretty much this is their document that they sent out to back up, their claims. State-backed information operations combating attempts to interfere in conversations on Twitter, to interfere in conversations on Twitter remains a top priority for the company, and we continue to invest heavily in our detection, disruption, and transparency efforts related to state-backed information operations. Our goal is to remove bad faith actors and to advance the public understanding of these critical topics. Twitter defines state-backed information operations as coordinated platform manipulation efforts that can be attributed with a high degree of confidence to state-affiliated actors. State-backed information operations are typically associated with misleading, deceptive, and spamming behavior. These behaviors differentiate coordinated manipulative behavior from legitimate speech on behalf of individuals and political parties. Whenever we identify inauthentic activity on Twitter that meets our definition of an information operation in which we are able to confidently attribute to actors associated with a government, we share comprehensive data about this activity. Sure you do. But behind the scenes, Twitter gave approval and special protection to the U.S. military's online psychological influence ops. Wow. Despite knowledge that Pentagon propaganda accounts use covert identities, Twitter did not suspend many for around 2 years or more. Some remain active. Wow. What's going on, Jam? How you doing? Hunter Prison 2024. Yori, what's going on? Oh boy. I can't see people's little banner thingies. Let's see if we can do it here. And, okay, that's not working. Okay, so it looks like the Twitch is malfunctioning. But anyway, welcome. In 2017, a U.S. Central Command sitcom official sent Twitter a list of 52. Roscoe, what's going on? Salute. Sent Twitter a list of 52 Arab language accounts we use to amplify certain messages. The official asked for priority service for 6 accounts, verification for 1, and whitelist abilities for the others. And here's the email on screen. Thanks. Sure, it's tough to do web ops when you can't tweet. I've attached a list of the first 6 on the list are our priority accounts. Ideally, we could have them verified blue checkmark and whitelisted if there is such a thing. One of them, Yemen Current, is currently not indexed. Justice_AR currently has a request in for verification, but haven't heard anything. The rest are accounts we use to amplify certain messages. Ideally, they could be whitelisted as well. Again, if it's too big an ask, the first 6 are the priority. If you need any sort of paperwork or verification from our office or SOCOM, please let me know. Also, our SOCOM guys mentioned that they love to be able to come and meet up for a face-to-face talk if you think the right Twitter folks will be up for it. This is coming from CENTCOM CCJ3 to someone at Twitter, redacted. Everybody get the likes up. I greatly appreciate it. The same day CENTCOM sent the list, Twitter officials used a tool to grant a special whitelist tag that essentially provides verification status to the accounts without the blue checkmark. Meaning they are exempt from spam/abuse flags, more visible, likely to trend on hashtags. That means they get the thumbs up. The CENTCOM accounts on the list tweeted frequently about U.S. military priorities in the Middle East. Wow. Including promoting anti-Iran messages, promotion of the Saudi Arabia U.S.-backed war in Yemen, and accurate U.S. drone strikes that claim to only hit terrorists. Wow. And this is an account that was verified that's being run by Americans. CENTCOM then shifted strategies and deleted disclosures of ties to Twitter accounts. The bios of the accounts changed to seemingly organic profiles, One bio read, Euroface Plus. Another used an apparent deepfake profile pic and claimed to be a source of Iraqi opinion. Oh my God. Why is CENTCOM involved with Twitter? You know, that's an excellent fucking question. Why is CENTCOM involved with Twitter? I thought service members are not allowed to post on social media, bro. That's a great question, right? That's an excellent question. Let's continue. One Twitter official who spoke to me said he feels deceived by the covert shift. Still, many emails from throughout 2020 show that high-level Twitter executives were well aware of the DoD's vast network of fake accounts, Department of Defense, fake accounts, and covert propaganda, and did not suspend the accounts. For example, Twitter lawyer Jim Baker, the former FBI lawyer that was recently fired by Elon Musk. For example, Twitter lawyer Jim Baker mused in a July 2020 email about an upcoming DoD meeting that the Pentagon used poor tradecraft in setting up its network and were seeking strategies for not exposing the accounts that are linked to each other or to DoD or the USG. What's going on, bro? What's going on? Rasta Realties. We're going over Twitter Files Part 8. The PSYOP that was used on American citizens using Twitter. And right now we are just going over SOCOM using strategic Department of Defense tactics to have accounts listed on Twitter to promote war propaganda. Fucking absurd. But let's continue. Stacia Cardilli, another Twitter attorney, replied that the Pentagon wanted a SCIF. If I'm saying that right, it's a SCIF, a SCIF, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is a SCIF is a special communications area that the president uses that blocks out all of our outgoing and ingoing communications, only through a selective line. Pentagon wanted a SCIF and may want to retroactively classify its social media activities to obfuscate their activity in this space, and that this may represent an overclassification to avoid embarrassment. And here's the email. From Stacia to Jim Baker. Jim, Angela, and I discussed attendance at this classified briefing. I heard from Facebook that they are securing SCIFs in D.C. and San Francisco for a meeting, possibly on Friday. So again, a SCIF is a location or a room that blocks out all communications, incoming and outgoing, so you can have a very private conversation without getting wiretapped. Possibly on Friday. I have some significant concerns that the motivations for classifications are slightly different than the ones you outlined in email below. I think it is possible the DoD is using retroactive classification to obfuscate their activity in this space. Angela and I think you would be more effective in this meeting than me, as the officials will view you more seriously. Woo! JM says, wait, SOCOM also involved? I don't think Special Forces guy care about selfies and posting on social media. Yes, SOCOM is very much involved. Yes, indeed. Yes, SOCOM is involved. Yes. Just like the British, all governments have PSYOP propaganda wings just for these types of operations. My question is, where does Twitter as a company go from here? It was as much a spy tool as it was a social media app. That's a Shadow Dweller. That's an excellent fucking question as well. Because at this point, I'm gonna keep going in. I'm gonna keep going in, but Twitter was the gray area for the FBI to run operations through. Operating right in the gray area. So yeah, we're going to continue. In several other 2020 emails, high-level Twitter executives / lawyers discussed the covert network and even recirculated the 2017 list from CENTCOM and shared another list of 157 undisclosed Pentagon accounts, again mostly focused on Middle East military issues. In a 2020 email, Twitter's Lisa Roman emailed the DoD with two lists. One list was accounts previously provided to us, and another list detected the accounts tweeted in Russia and Arabic on U.S. military issues in Syria/ISIS, and many also did not disclose Pentagon ties. Oh my God. Thank you again for your time. Yesterday, as discussed, attached is a spreadsheet with the accounts we described on our call. The first tab lists those accounts previously provided to us, and the second associated accounts that Twitter has discovered. Please note that the second tab is not intended to be an exhaustive list, and if DoD is aware of additional associated accounts which may violate our rules, those should be included in the scope of our request. I would be grateful if you would confirm receipt and that you are able to access this spreadsheet without issue. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding this information. Many of these secretive U.S. military propaganda accounts, despite detection by Twitter as late as 2020, but potentially earlier, continue tweeting through this year, some now suspended until May 2020 or later, according to the records I reviewed. To summarize where we're at right now, Twitter uncovered U.S. propaganda accounts. So you had U.S. accounts that was promoting Russian propaganda, that was promoting anti-Iran or anti-Saudi Arabia propaganda. These accounts were linked to the Pentagon, the divisions. I'm not a military person. I know SOCOM and CENTCOM divisions of military when it comes to operations. So you had the Pentagon involved, the Department of Defense, and it was covered as a CENTCOM and SOCOM operation. And this was all to have these fake accounts to promote propaganda on Twitter. So as Twitter uncovered these accounts, oh shit. My mic is... I'm sorry, I didn't even realize my mic. I just saw my mic was giving off audio. My bad. Oh, my apologies if you were hearing echoes. I didn't even realize that. Anyway, so going on. In August 2002, Stanford Internet Observatory report exposed a U.S. military covert propaganda network on Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and other apps using fake portals and deepfake images and memes against U.S. foreign adversaries. I'm going to take a quick look at this. So this is a big ass document. We're not about to go. I just want to see if we got pictures. So these are the deepfake pictures. Deepfake is AI technology. So AI technology being used to make images of people that aren't real people. And they're using these deepfake accounts to promote propaganda on different social media platforms. So that's wild. The U.S. propaganda network relentlessly pushed narratives against Russia, China, and other foreign countries. They accused Iran of threatening Iraq's water security and flooding the country with crystal meth. Wow. And of harvesting the organs of Afghan refugees. So if you've seen a meme covering information like this, that was probably propaganda that was made by the U.S. The Stanford report did not identify all of the accounts in the network, but one they did name was the exact same Twitter account CENTCOM asked for whitelisted privileges in its 2017 email. I verified via Twitter's internal tools the account used an AI-created deepfake image. Stop the show. Shots fired! Shots fired! Stop the show for a second. Let me back that up for people that may have missed that. The Stanford report did not identify all of the accounts in the network, But one they did name was the exact same Twitter account CENTCOM asked for whitelisted privileges in its 2017 email. To get whitelisted means it automatically goes up in the Twitter algorithm, it gets highlighted, and it's more likely to get trending and get more views and interactions. I verified via Twitter's internal tools the account used an AI created deepfake image. That's fucking nuts. The picture used by Facebook page Discoverer and two other assets in the Middle East group issues with the left ear, right here, and the central alignment of the eye suggests it was generated using artificial intelligence. So to show to show you what's going on BMT, so to show you guys so you can get an idea of what an AI image is. AI is really good at creating images, but it's not perfect. What usually AI cannot do, AI can't do fingers, and AI can't do eyes properly, right? So when you look at an image like this, you can see that the face is like kind of off on the right. The ears are a little funky on the left. And if you look in the eyes themselves are a little bit off. Now, yeah, everyone's face is not symmetrically aligned. Some people's faces are symmetrically aligned, but usually, like when you look at these pictures, the AI, especially on the left, there's a lot of discoloration. There's a lot of funny things going on with AI images when it comes to eyes, ears, and hands for whatever reason. And this is what's being pointed out in this image, which is a deep fake, which is crazy. So let's continue. In subsequent reporting, Twitter was cast as an unbiased hero for removing a network of fake user accounts promoting pro-Western policy positions. Media covering the story described Twitter as evenly applying its policies and proactive in suspending the DoD network. The reality is much more murky. Twitter actively assisted CENTCOM's network going back to 2017 as late as 2020. Knew these accounts were covert / designed to deceive to manipulate the discourse, a violation of Twitter's policies and promises they'd waited years to suspend. Twitter's comms team was closely in touch with reporters working to minimize Twitter's role. When the Washington Post reported on the scandal, Twitter officials congratulated each other because the story didn't mention any Twitter employees and focused largely on the Pentagon. And we're going to take a look at this. The Washington Post will be publishing a piece most likely this weekend that sheds more light on the U.S. government aspects of the recent Graphica Stanford report, but tech companies removing U.S.-based influence campaigns. It's a story that's mostly focused on DoD and Facebook. However, there will be multiple lines that reference us alongside Facebook and what we reached out to them, and that in that we reached out to them for a meeting. We don't think they'll tie to anything much related or name any Twitter employees. I suspect this piece will get more attention in Washington. With the DoD angle, we'll keep you posted. Thanks for doing all that you could to manage this one. It didn't seem to get much traction beyond Verge, CNN, and WAPO. Editors promoting. Hi, folks. Here's the piece, which I think turned out as expected. So they felt like they got out of a jam. JM says, I'm pretty sure somewhere in this world there's a dude that looks just like him. Yes, there is, probably. More than likely there is. The conduct with the U.S. military's covert network stands in stark contrast with how Twitter has boasted about rapidly identifying and taking down covert accounts tied to state-backed influence operations, including Thailand, Russia, Venezuela, and others since 2016. Here's my reported piece with more detail as I was given access to Twitter for a few days. I have signed / agreed to nothing. Twitter had no input into anything I did or wrote. The researches were carried out by Twitter attorneys, so I saw what could be limited. And apparently that's the end of his report. Let's see what he has here. Okay. All right. So we'll come back to that. I kind of just want to go through the Twitter files on Twitter. So we'll come back to that. We'll take another look at that later. Now, Twitter Files Part 7 covered the FBI and the Hunter Biden laptop, which has now been proven to be an actual story. Media knew about it, covered the story up, told everyone that they were stupid. It was a conspiracy theory because they knew it would affect the 2020 political contest. So now it's been released that it's a real story, and we're going to talk about it. How the FBI and intelligence community discredit factual information about the foreign business dealings, both after and before the New York Post revealed the contents of this laptop on October 14th, 2020. And again, when the New York Post posted this article, made this story public on Twitter, they got their account suspended. And we're going to cover Twitter Files Part 6 as well, but we're going to come back to that a little bit later. In Twitter Files 6, we saw the FBI relentlessly seek to exercise influence over Twitter, including over its content, its users, and its data. In Twitter Files 7, we present evidence pointing to an organized effort by representatives of the intelligence community aimed at senior executives at news and social media companies to discredit leaked information about the Hunter story before and after it was published. Crazy. The story begins in December 2019 when a Delaware computer store owner named John Paul contacts the FBI about a laptop that Hunter had left with him. On December 9th, 2019, the FBI issues a subpoena for and takes the laptop. Okay. By August 2020, Mac Isaac, the computer store owner, still had not heard back from the FBI, even though he had discovered evidence of criminal activity, and so he emails Rudy Giuliani, who was under FBI surveillance at the time. In early October, Giuliani gives it to the New York Post. Shortly before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on October 13th, Hunter's lawyer, George Mizares, emails JP. Hunter Mizares had just learned from New York Post that it's a story about the laptop would be published the next day. And here's the email. At 9:22 Eastern Standard Time, FBI Special Agent Elvis Chan sends 10 documents to Twitter's then head of integrity, Yoel Roth, through Teleporter, a one-way communications channel from the FBI to Twitter. Heads up, I will be sending a teleporter link for you to download 10 documents. It is not spam. Please confirm receipt when you get it. Thanks. Received and downloaded. The next day, October 14th, 2020, the New York Post runs its explosive story revealing the business dealings of President Joe's son. Every single fact in it was accurate. Dudes need to learn to always wipe and format the drives a couple times before getting rid of a laptop. Absolutely. But Hunter's a crackhead. So crackhead's going to do crackhead things. Anyway, allegedly, he's a crackhead. And yet, within hours, Twitter and other social media companies censored the New York Post article, preventing it from spreading. And more importantly, undermining its credibility in the minds of many Americans. Why is that? What exactly happened? On December 2nd, Matt Taibbi described the debate inside Twitter over his decisions to censor a wholly accurate article. Since then, we have discovered new info that points to an organized effort by the Intel community to influence Twitter and other platforms. First, it's important to realize that Hunter earned tens of millions of dollars in contracts with foreign businesses, including ones linked to China's government, for which Hunter offered no real work. Here's an overview by investigative journalist Peter Schweizer. So we're not going to play that. That's 9 minutes. I just want to hear a sample of this.
Ukrainian and Chinese sources, among others. So we know there's been a flow of funds. We also know that the people sending that money have very close relationships with the government. So in the case of China, for example, which I believe is the most troubling of the group of foreign donors, you can actually look on the Hunter Biden laptop and find the businessmen who secured these deals for Hunter Biden. There are 4 gentlemen that are named. If you look at those 4 gentlemen, each and every one of them has close ties to the highest levels of Chinese intelligence. So, for example, one gentleman who he calls the super chairman, at the same time that Hunter Biden secures a deal with him that translates into about $20 million, that same Chinese businessman is business partners with the Vice Minister of State Security in China, who is...
Woo! Let's continue. And yet, during all of 2020, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies repeatedly primed Yoel Roth to dismiss reports of Hunter's laptop as a Russian hack and leak operation. This is from a sworn declaration by Roth given in December 2020. Since 2018, I have had regular meetings with the Office of Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Homeland Security, and the FBI and industry peers regarding election security. These weekly meetings, the federal law enforcement agencies communicated that they expected hack and leak operations by state actors might occur in the period shortly before the 2020 presidential election, likely in October. Wow. And at these meetings, that there were rumors that a hack and leak operation would involve Hunter. They did the same to Facebook, according to CEO Mark Zuckerberg. The FBI basically came to us and was like, hey, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in 2016 election. There's about to be some kind of dump similar to that. And we can listen to this whole video. This is only 19 seconds.
The background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. The background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. The background here,
were the FBI warnings of a Russian hack and leak operation relating to Hunter Biden based on any new intel? No, they weren't. Through our investigations, we did not see any similar competing intrusions to what had happened in 2016, admitted FBI agent Elvis Chan in November. Let's see a highlight. The context of hack and dump is what was the FBI and CISA doing to prevent hack and dump operations. So from the FBI side, I think I already relayed to you that we had the Protective Voices initiative. I can't remember the specifics, but CISA is also discussed its cybersecurity awareness efforts, as well as grants efforts with the state, county, and local level election officials. Crazy. Indeed, Twitter executives repeatedly reported very little Russian activity. Example, on September 24th, 2020, Twitter told FBI it had removed 345 largely inactive accounts, which accounts linked to previous coordinated Russian hacking attempts. They had little reach and low follower accounts. And here's the email. Okay. This is crazy. In fact, Twitter debunked false claims by journalists of foreign influence on its platform. We haven't seen any evidence to support that claim by one underscore and NBC News of foreign controlled bots. Our review thus far shows a small scale domestic control out. Yeah. All out of an abundance of caution. Let me just get rid of this. Out of an abundance of caution, I want to reach out to you about this news story. The second part of the article focuses on the DC Blackout campaign and its potential to being driven by foreign control bots. Anything we should be aware of concerning this topic? Thanks. Elvis. We haven't seen any evidence to support that claim. Our review thus far shows a small-scale domestic troll effort that was amplified in some creative ways by real people, but not a significant bot of foreign angle. Wow. After FBI asks about a WAPO story on alleged foreign influence in a pro-Trump tweet, Twitter's Roth says the article makes a lot of insinuations, but we saw no evidence that was the case here. And in fact, a lot of strong evidence pointing in the other direction. What's going on, Slide? What's up? What's going on? So for those that are just coming in, we're on part 7 of the Twitter files. Part 9 was deleted. I don't know what happened. Part 8 covered the Pentagon, the DOD, SOCOM, and CENTCOM involved in Twitter by making propaganda accounts using deepfake technology to promote Western propaganda under the guise of accounts of that nation. Now we're talking about how FBI worked with Twitter to suppress the Hunter laptop story. It's not the first time that Twitter's Roth has pushed back against the FBI. In January 2020, Roth resisted FBI efforts to get Twitter to share data outside of the normal search warrant. Okay. At this point, we don't think a call directly with your colleague at the fort is the best path forward. As a rule, we're not able to directly discuss data licensing relationships with third parties. Okay, we're gonna move on. I don't need to read that whole email. Pressure had been growing. We have seen a sustained, if uncoordinated, effort by the IC intelligence community to push us to share more info and change our API policies. They are probing and pushing everywhere they can, including by whispering to congressional staff. Is a highlighted part of the email. We have seen a sustained, if coordinated effort. Okay, that's the part from the Twitter, including by whispering to congressional staff. We should stay connected and keep a solid front against these efforts. My sense from the exchange below is that Elvis is sending a message he was asked to, but that doesn't feel ownership of it. But he doesn't feel ownership of it, and a polite discussion will suffice to answer the mail here. Time and time again, FBI asks Twitter for evidence of foreign influence, and Twitter responds that they aren't finding anything worth reporting. We haven't yet identified activity that we typically refer to you or even flag as interesting in the foreign influence context. Despite Twitter's pushback, the FBI repeatedly requests information from Twitter that Twitter has already made it clear will not share outside of normal legal channels.
Thank you again for taking the time to look into this matter. We really appreciate it. When available for follow-up of questions, I'm hoping you can answer. Based on my understanding, Twitter observes some of their accounts using VPNs and VoIP as a way to obfuscate, whatever. I had it the first time. Their online activities. Based on what you're seeing, would you be able to advise how the account holders were using VoIP, voice over IP on Twitter's platform? Also, while I understand obtaining the actual VPN IP addresses associated with the respective accounts would likely require legal process, would Twitter be open to sharing which service providers those VPN IP addresses resolve to? So again, a VPN doesn't make you totally anonymous because legally any government agency or IP, your internet provider, can give up your IP information if they really need to get it. Then in July 2020, the FBI's Elvis Chan arranges for temporary top secret security clearances for Twitter executives so that the FBI can share information about threats to upcoming elections. So if you're following the story so far, right? So the story is that the FBI is trying to create a story, a narrative of foreign interference in the elections by contacting Twitter, trying to get this information, when they are the ones who are creating that foreign interference narrative to simply cover up this particular story of the Hunter laptop. Because in Twitter Files 8, we uncovered that the government itself was making these fake international accounts to promote the propaganda they claim to have existed on Twitter. So it's a lot of smoke and mirrors with the FBI. But let's continue. Since I brought up the security clearances during our call, I don't think we have anyone at Twitter who has a permanent security clearance. Correct me if I'm wrong. What I would propose is that 30 days out from the election, we get you temporary clearances so you get to pick who they would be. Let me know what you think. On August 11, 2020, chain proxy is better alternative to stay anonymous on the internet. Yes. On August 11, 2020, the FBI's Chan shares information with Twitter's Roth relating to the Russian hacking organization. Again, the Russian hacking organization doesn't exist. Relating to the Russian hacking organization, Apartment 28 through FBI secure one-way communications channel Teleporter. I've got more information to share with you via Teleporter. Teleporter is the direct line of communication FBI has with Twitter. You'll see an email from it shortly, so you can download the document. This is from Chan to Yoel Roth Al Khan. In advance of this week's meeting, I'm going to be sending you 3 documents through an FBI application called Teleporter. You'll get a link which will expire in 24 hours. Please download the documents when you get a chance. The documents will not denote the actors, so I'm providing them here. We'll be discussing A and B, but don't have anything additional for C at this point. A is FIT topic, B is Apartment 20, and C is Sandworm. These are supposedly the hacking organizations. Recently, Yoel Roth told Kara Swisher that he had been primed to think about the Russian hacking group Apartment 28 before news of the Hunter Biden laptop came out. When it did, Roth said it set off every single one of my finely tuned Apartment 28 hack and leap campaign alarm bells. So they're priming him for the disinformation. FBI was priming Twitter executives for the PSYOP.
Learn about DC leaks, and we learn about the intersection between APT-28, a unit of Russian military intelligence, a hacking group, and so the morning of the Hunter Biden story in the New York Post happens, and it was weird, right? We didn't know what to believe. We didn't know what was true. There was smoke, and ultimately for me, it didn't reach a place where I was comfortable removing this content from Twitter. but it set off every single one of my finely tuned APT28 hack and leak campaign alarm bells.
So it looked possibly probably.
Everything about it looked like a hack and leak. We learned about DC leak.
Played them hook, line, and sinker, but let's continue. In August 2020, FBI's Chan asked Twitter, does anyone there have top secret clearance? When someone mentions Jim Baker, Chan responds, I don't know how I forgot him, an odd claim. Yes, because he's the lawyer for the FBI and he's the lawyer for Twitter, but whatever. Given Chan's job is to monitor Twitter, not to mention that they work together at the FBI. No spooks gonna spook. Who is Jim Baker? He's former general counsel of the FBI and one of the most powerful men in the U.S. intel community. Baker has moved in and out of the government for 30 years, serving stints at CNN, Bridgewater, a $140 billion asset management firm, and Brookings. This is his email. This is his resume. Associate Deputy General, Deputy Attorney General at the United States Department of Justice. Assistant General Counsel for National Security, Verizon Business. Counsel for Intelligence Policy, United States Department of Justice, National Security Division, Office of Intelligence Policy and Review, Washington, D.C. Deputy of Counsel for CIA. Attorney Advisor, again for the DOJ. Trial Attorney for the DOJ. Federal Judicial Law Clerk. Guy's a spook. As general counsel of the FBI, Baker played a central role in making the case internally for an investigation of Donald Trump. Baker wasn't the only senior FBI exec involved in the Trump investigation to go to Twitter. Don Burton, the former department chief of staff to FBI head James Comey, who initiated the investigation of Trump, joined Twitter in 2019 as director of strategy. And we'll go over the list of all the FBI's, all the feds that were working for Twitter. As of 2020, there were so many FBI employees, BU alumni, working at Twitter that they had created their own private Slack channel and a crib sheet to onboard new FBI arrivals. Hey, Jim, so excited you're here. I'm no longer the newest BU alum. Here is the BU to Twitter translation chart I mentioned, adding Dawn so she can add/correct. Yeah, I don't know what these abbreviations mean. Efforts continue to influence Twitter's Yo Rolf. So Yo Rolf is like the target, right? So Yo Rolf is the target, and the FBI is slowly working him over, priming him for the propaganda, the psyop that they're pushing forth to the American citizens, right? So Yo Rolf is the dummy. He's the puppet. In September 2020, Rolf participated in an Aspen Institute tabletop exercise. Aspen Institute is the same people, I believe, who did the tabletop exercise for COVID-19, and they recently did one for a new pandemic. I may be wrong on that. On a potential hack and dump operation relating to Hunter Biden. The goal was to shape how the media covered it and how social media carried it out. What's going on? Hello, what's going on? Perspective. What's good? Yeah, we are really getting into this crazy nonsense, man. So this is the same tabletop exercise they did for Agenda 2020. The COVID-19 exercise. The organizer was Vivian Schiller, the former CEO of NPR, former head of news at Twitter, former general manager of the New York Times, former chief digital officer of the NBC News. So pretty much a media insider, this woman. Attendees included Meta, Facebook's head of security policy, and the top national security reporters for New York Times and others. 32. By mid-September 2020, Chan and Roth had set up an encrypted messaging network so employees from FBI and Twitter could communicate. They also agreed to create a virtual war room for all the internet industry plus FBI and ODNI, Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Then for September 15, 2020, the FBI's Laura Damlow. Uh-oh. I like how they send the bots to your channel when you're discussing certain things. But we're gonna keep it pushing. That's the first time I've seen a bot on my channel in a minute. But anyway. Then on September 20, who heads up the Foreign Influence Task Force, and Elvis Chan request to give a classified briefing for Jim Baker without any of a Twitter staff such as Joe Roth present. Wow. Yeah, the bots. We're not gonna get distracted by the bots. I know why the bots here. The bots are here when you're talking about certain things. Sometimes I haven't seen bots on my channel in months. On October 14, shortly after the New York Post publishes its Hunter Biden laptop story, Roth says it's clearly violative of our hacked materials policy, nor is it clearly in violation of anything else, but adds this feels like a somewhat subtle leak operation. Yes, Roth, you're the puppet. You're the sucker. You're the what do they call that? You're the John, you know? Yes, they're using you. At the repair shop. Thanks. We are aware of this and are tracking it closely at this time, given the alleged provenance of the materials, a laptop mysteriously dropped off at a repair shop in Delaware. It isn't clearly violative of our hack materials policy, nor is it clearly in violation of anything else. That said, the questionable origins here are obviously causing a lot of people to make references to 2016, Hillary Clinton's emails. And my personal view on this, unsubstantiated by hard evidence as yet, is that this feels a lot like a somewhat subtle leak operation. We'll be developing a recommendation for what, if anything, we want to do over the course of the day today. In response to Roth, Baker repeatedly insists that the Hunter Biden materials were either fake, hacked, or both, and a violation of Twitter policy. Baker does so over email and in Google Doc on October 14th and 15th. Here's the email. Is second, who's the Google Doc. We're not going to read all of that. I'm guessing we're going to restrict access to this article as a violation of our hack materials policy, but after yesterday, I don't want to assume anything. So Jim Baker, the FBI plant, the general counsel plant, he's the one that was working to cover up the Hunter story. And yet it's inconceivable Baker believed the Hunter Biden emails were either fake or hacked. The New York Post had included a picture of the receipt signed by Hunter, and an FBI subpoena showed that agency had taken possession of the laptop in 2019. And again, if Jim Baker is the FBI's lawyer, he was well aware of that. Let's continue. Gene, salute, what's going on? 37. As for the FBI, it likely would have taken a few hours for it to confirm that the laptop had belonged to Hunter. Indeed, it only took a few days for journalist Peter Schweizer to prove it. And we're gonna play his audio.
When the laptop dropped in 2020, I had no idea where it came from. I didn't know if it was real. But what I did was I took the files on the Hunter Biden laptop and I compared it to bodies of information that we knew were absolutely true. So, for example, the Secret Service, again at the request of the U.S. Senate Committee, had released Hunter Biden's travel records. So we were able to take the laptop and say, When he says he's in Dubai, does that correspond with the Secret Service travel records? If he's emailing somebody and saying, I'm in Hong Kong, does that line up? In each and every case, it lined up. Then we compared the laptop to the suspicious activity reports, the SARS reports. When the emails referenced $5 million being wired to Hunter Biden's business, does that correspond with the SARS? And again, it lined up completely. And the laptop really came out at about the same time as the Secret Service travel logs and the wire transfers. So it really would not have been possible for somebody to create thousands of emails simultaneously to demonstrate it. Then the final thing we did, Michael, is we looked at Hunter Biden's laptop emails and we compared them with a collection that we'd received from Hunter Biden's business partners, a guy named Bevan Cooney, who's in jail. He shared his Gmail account with us, and we looked at it. The Hunter Biden laptops that have Bevan Cooney correspondence on them, do they actually line up with Bevan Cooney's Gmail account? And again, they did 100%. Now, I was able to do this in Florida with my researchers. The New York Times, the Washington Post, CBS News, ABC News could have done the same thing, but they were not interested in this story. They did not pursue this story. If you had told me that information would come forward that Jimmy Carter's family or Ronald Reagan's family was receiving tens of millions of dollars from Russian businesses that were linked to the KGB, it would have set off alarm bells, rightfully so, to all kinds of news outlets. That's really the equivalent of what we're talking about here. And yet the media somehow convinced themselves that this was not an important or an interesting story.
Imagine that. By 10 a.m., Twitter execs had bought into a wild hack and dump story. That means by 10 a.m., they bought into the psyop. The suggestion from experts, which rings true, is there was a hack that happened separately, and they loaded the hack materials onto the laptop that magically appeared at a repair shop in Delaware. Wow. So I'm not going to read all of that. I'm going to keep it up here for a minute. Okay. At 3:38 p.m. the same day, October 14, Baker arranges a phone conversation with Matthew J. Perry in the Office of General Counsel of the FBI. The influence operation persuaded Twitter execs that the Hunter laptop story did not come from a whistleblower. One linked to a Hill article based on a WAPO article from October 15th, which falsely suggested that Giuliani's leak of the laptop had something to do with Russia. This is the propaganda. I'd also note that seemingly well-timed briefings from government sources highlighted concerns about the source of the hard drive, which would support an assessment that it's neither whistleblower or descendant content. There is evidence that that FBI agents have warned elected officials of foreign influence with the primary goal of leaking the information to news media. This is a political dirty trick used to create the perception of impropriety. In 2020, the FBI gave a briefing to Senator Grassley and Johnson claiming evidence of Russian interference into their investigation of Hunter. The briefing angered the senators, who says it was done to discredit their investigation. Let's take a quick look at this. That's a 4-page document. Let's read an excerpt for this. On August 6, 2020, as we were finishing our September 23rd, 2020 report on Hunter's financial connections to foreign governments and questionable foreign nationals, you provided a briefing to us on behalf of the FBI and intelligence community. As we have publicly and privately stated to you and Director Wray, since that briefing, the briefing was unnecessary and was only done because of pressure from our Democratic colleagues, including Democratic leadership, to falsely attack our Biden investigation as advancing Russian disinformation. For example, on July 13th, 2020, then Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator Elizabeth Warner, no, Senator Warner, no, that's Warren, so I don't know who Warner is. Speaker Pelosi and Representative Schiff sent a letter with a classified attachment to the FBI to express a purported belief that Congress was the subject of a foreign disinformation campaign. The classified attachment, which included unclassified elements that, among other things, attempted and failed to tie our investigation into Biden's family's financial deals to foreign disinformation. Those elements were then leaked to the press. As you are undoubtedly aware, we've successfully refuted those false allegations, and most recently, we've made public a series of authentic bank records relating to the Biden's family's connection to the Communist Chinese government, otherwise known as the CCP, which Democrats had previously tried and failed to claim advanced Russian disinformation. In addition, on July 16th, 2020, then ranking member Peters and then ranking member Wyden wrote to us requesting a briefing from the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force on matters purportedly relating to our investigation. On July 28th, 2020, we responded to them and reminded them that in March 2020, the FBI and relevant members of the intelligence community had already briefed our committees and provided assurances that there was no reason that our committees should not continue their investigation. Nonetheless, the FBI succumbed to the Democratic pressure and provided the infamous August 6, 2020 briefing. With respect to the substance of the briefing, it consisted primarily of information that we already knew and information unconnected to our Biden investigation. We made clear to you that the briefing that it was not relevant to the substance of our work. In response, you stated that the FBI is not attempting to quash, curtail, or interfere in the investigation in any way. We also made clear our concern that the briefing would be subject to a leak that would shed a false light on the focus of our investigation. Indeed, on May 1st, 2021, the Washington Post did exactly that, and so did the other inaccurate media articles during the course of our investigation, which falsely labeled our investigation as advancing Russian disinformation. So the reason why I'm reading this, because this is like really summarizing pretty much all of 2020, 2019, what we saw in the news, what Pelosi, what Schumer, what all the Democrats, what all of mainstream media continue to repeat to us as Russian disinformation. Throughout the whole time, we were told that anything regarding this particular story was Russian disinformation. It is a Russian hoax. The Russians made it up. It's Russian disinformation because Trump is working with the Russians. We were told and convinced that all of this had to deal with Russia, Russia, Russia. What this memo and these Twitter files are exposing is that it had nothing to do with Russia. It had everything to do with the Democratic Party. It had everything to do with the FBI. And it had everything to do with the FBI brainwashing, prepping Twitter and other social media companies for the PSYOP, prepping them for the leak of the information through the New York Post story and other companies that were going to release the story. So that then once these news agencies would drop the stories, the social media companies were already primed with their FBI handlers to treat the story as Russian disinformation, as Russian hoax, as stolen and hacked materials. Let's continue. Where did I stop off at? The Washington Post did exactly that, and so did other inaccurate media articles during the course of our investigation, which falsely labeled our investigation as advancing Russian disinformation. Moreover, whistleblowers have recently alleged that in August 2020, the same month you provided the briefings to us, FBI officials initiated a scene to downplay derogatory information on Hunter Biden for the purpose of shutting down investigative activity relating to his potential criminal exposure by labeling it disinformation. Okay. Whistleblowers have also alleged that the local FBI leadership instructed employees not to look at the Hunter laptop immediately after the FBI had obtained it. At the briefings as well as after, we requested relevant records relating to what happened at the briefing, including the 302 similar summary, the intelligence basis for the briefing, and the personnel involved in making the decision to brief us. On August 12th, 2020, May 3rd, 2021, July 25th, 2022, and August 11th, 2022, those requests were made. The FBI has consistently failed to respond in full to each request and failed to provide those critical records, which cast further doubt on the true purpose for the briefing. Simply put, the unnecessary FBI briefing provided the Democrats and liberal media the vehicle to spread their false narrative that our work advanced Russian disinformation. Although you stated that the FBI didn't intend to interfere in our investigation, the practical effect of such an unnecessary briefing and subsequent leaks relating to it created interference, which frustrated and obstructed congressional oversight efforts. Let's continue. The unnecessary FBI briefing provided Democrats and liberal media, and we covered that, and with respect to something primarily information. Okay, so that's just covering what I just read. Notably, the FBI General Counsel Jim Baker was investigated twice, in 2017 and 2019, for leaking information to the news media. You're saying he's under criminal investigation. That's why you're not letting him answer. Tim Meadows asks. Yes, Tim Meadows. Okay, we're gonna move past that. In the end, the FBI's influence campaign aimed at executives at news media, Twitter, and other social media companies worked. They censored and discredited the Hunter Biden laptop story. By December 2020, Baker and his colleagues even sent a note of thanks to the FBI for its work. I hope all is well. The election has taken up our lives for most of this year, but certainly the past few months. Twitter was on the front line of protecting our users and the public at large from misinformation, disinformation campaigns that had the potential to negatively affect the fair election process. What is not widely known is the role Twitter played in helping the FBI track and identify violent actors who wanted to perpetrate acts of domestic terrorism at polling stations and ballot counting facilities. Obviously, this work is close hold and we will never get public credit, but I would like to thank the FBI, our FBI counterparts who worked so well with us in this election cycle. Wow. There it goes in the fine print. The FBI's influence campaign may have been helped by the fact that it was paying. Go to music for a second. The FBI's influence campaign may have been helped by the fact that it was paying Twitter millions of dollars for its staff's time. I'm happy to report that we've collected $3,415,323 since October 19th, reports an associate of Jim Baker in early 2021. Jim, FYI, in 2019, Scale instituted a reimbursement program for our legal process. For our legal process, response from FBI prior to the start of the program, Twitter chose not to collect under the statutory right of reimbursement for the time spent processing requests from the FBI. I'm happy to report that we collected $3.4 million since October 2019. This money is used by LP for things like TTR and other LE related projects, LE training, tooling, etc. Mel Alston Jr., welcome. He says, about to start a record label called Gitmo Records. Yeah, right? Gitmo Records. All these people need to be in fucking jail, man. This shit is... Anyway, we continue. And the pressure from the FBI on social media platform continues. In August 2022, Twitter execs prepared for a meeting with the FBI whose goal was to convince us to produce more FBI EDRs. EDRs are an emergency disclosure request, a warrantless search. So the FBI is saying, hey, we need to holler at y'all. We need to meet with you guys so that we can get these warrantless requests on and popping. So we can run the pockets when we need to run the pockets. In response to the Twitter files revelation of high-level FBI agents at Twitter, Jim Jordan said, I have concerns about whether the government was running a misinformation operation on we the people. Anyone who reads the Twitter files, regardless of their political orientation, should share those concerns. The end. So let me ask the audience, the people that are watching, what are your thoughts so far? Like, what do you think about the information that's been shared with you tonight so far in regards to the FBI, their PSYOP propaganda, the Pentagon, the government pretty much being involved in colluding, and the government agencies colluding with each other to confuse and misinform the American people? What are your thoughts on that so far? Now, I have to find, let me see if I can pull up here. I have Twitter files 6 and I have some other documents loaded up that I will have to locate. Just give me a second. There we go. Okay, so I was just reorganizing my screens and looking for the 6 because I have everything saved. I just had to find it. While I'm looking for this, I would like to know what happened to the Twitter Files Part 9 that was dropped and was subsequently deleted. Okay, I cannot find it. It was scrubbed for whatever reason. Okay, so we're gonna move on from that. I don't know what happened. Probably it wasn't supposed to be put out. What's going on, Nick Taylor? I needed Nick a while ago because I needed you a while ago because we covered the PSYOP campaign that was being run on Twitter, and it mentioned the Pentagon, the Department of Justice, CENTCOM, and SOCOM operations. And I know that's your specialty. Okay, so right now we have the Twitter Files Part 6, Twitter, the FBI subsidiary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break to refill my water, and when I come back, we're going to go cover 6, 4, and 5 because we already did 7. So we're going to do 6, 4, and 5. 4 and 5 are going to cover the removal of Trump from Twitter, and 6 is going to cover how Twitter became the subsidiary of the FBI, and then we're going to wrap it up with these supplemental files. And as far as I see, that's all the information from Twitter that I have. Just give me 2 or 3 minutes. If you leave, you leave. You come back, you come back. But I'll be right back.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in
Okay, I'm back. Give me 1 second. How you guys like the I like the hold music. Whew. Okay. And I'm back. Thank you for waiting. I appreciate you guys for waiting. I need to get a sippy. And I need to re-up. So we're back at it. So for those that are joining us, we're covering the Twitter files. We pretty much we're covering the bulk of the Twitter files in the one stream. I covered 8, 7, 1 and 2 and 3 already done on the channel. So I think I might have skipped 3, but we have 6 and we got 5 and 4 coming up. So let's cover the Twitter files part 6, the FBI subsidiary. So this means that the Twitter was operating as a subsidiary of the FBI. Welcome, Von D Gaming. Now, I'm not going to read all these documents because we just covered in 7 how Twitter was working with the FBI. So pretty much now you kind of up to speed as I go through this. So the Twitter files are revealing more every day about how the government collects, analyzes, and flags your social media content. Twitter's contact with the FBI was constant and pervasive as if it were a subsidiary. Between January 2020 and November 2022, there were over 150 emails between the FBI and former Twitter trust and safety chief Yoel Roth, which we already uncovered was a puppet who was being used. He was a mark for the FBI. He was primed for the PSYOP. Some are mundane, like San Francisco agent Elvis Chan wishing Roth a Happy New Year, along with a reminder to attend our quarterly call next week. Others are requests for information into Twitter users related to active investigations, but a surprisingly high number are requests by the FBI for Twitter to take action on election misinformation, even involving joke tweets from low follower accounts. The FBI social media focused task force, known as the FTIF, created in the wake of the 2016 election, swelled to 80 agents and corresponded with Twitter to identify alleged foreign influence and election tampering of all kinds. The growth of useless government, mind you, this happened under Trump too, so I'm not going to let that go under the radar. This happened under Trump. Just to put that out there. A lot of this happened under Trump. Just pointless growth of the federal government to waste taxpayer dollars. But we'll continue. Federal intelligence and law enforcement reach into Twitter included the Department of Homeland Security, which partnered with security contractors and think tanks to pressure Twitter to moderate content, just like they did Facebook. It's no secret the government analyzes bulk data for all sorts of purposes, everything from tracking terror suspects to making economic forecasts. The Twitter files show something new. Agencies like the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security regularly sending social media content to Twitter through multiple entry points pre-flagged for moderation. What stands out is the sheer quantity of the reports from the government. Some are aggregated from public hotlines. Unanswered question. Do agencies like the FBI and the DHS do in-house flagging work themselves or farm it out? You have to prove to me that inside the fucking government you can do any kind of massive data or AI search, says one former intelligence officer. Hello, Twitter contacts. The master canine quality of the FBI's relationship to Twitter comes through in this November 2022 email in which the FBI San Francisco is notifying you, Big P. What's going on, Big Pontiac in the building? FBI San Francisco is notifying you it wants action on 4 accounts. The FBI office in San Francisco is notifying you they want action on these accounts. It's notifying you of the below accounts which may potentially constitute violations of Twitter's TOS for any action or inaction deemed appropriate within Twitter policy. Jonathan 1 Wade from MA, Madam Pissed Off, and Malt Thomas. I don't know who these accounts are. Twitter personnel in that case went on to look for reasons to suspend all 4 accounts, including from who is this? From clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, retired from engine, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Whose tweets are almost all jokes. See sample below, including his civic misinformation of November 8th. I want to remind Republicans to vote tomorrow, Wednesday, November 9th. Propose container shift if there's a worldwide recession. They're just jokes, but okay. Just to show the FBI can be hyper intrusive in both directions, they also asked Twitter to review a blue leaning account for a different joke, except here it was even more obvious that Claire Foster, PhD, who kids a lot, was kidding. Okay, same email. I'm a ballot counter in my state. If you're not wearing a mask, I am not counting your vote. For every negative comment on this post, I'm adding another vote for the Democrats. Okay. Anyone who cannot discern obvious satire from reality has no place making decisions for others or working for the feds, said Claire Foster when told about the flagging. Of the 6 accounts mentioned in the previous 2 emails, all but 2 were suspended. An internal email from November 5th, 2022, the FBI's National Election Command Post, which compiles and sends on complaints, sent the SF field office a long list of accounts that may warrant additional action. So here's the FBI overreach coming in. I don't recognize any of these accounts. There's 25 more accounts. Agent Chan passed the list to his Twitter folks, which is Yo Rolf and them. Twitter didn't reply with its list of actions taken. Note mercy shown to actor Billy Baldwin. Okay. Oh, thank you for the subscription, Lady Westbrook 05. I greatly appreciate it. Many of the above accounts were satirical in nature, nearly all with the exceptions of Baldwin and Right Side Broadcasting, were relatively low engagement and some were suspended, most with a generic thanks Twitter letter. And here's the generic letter that YouTubers are used to seeing from YouTube. All these accounts they suspended. When told of the FBI flagging, Lexi Tola replied, "My thoughts initially include 1, seems like a prima facie fascist. 1A, First Amendment violation. 2, holy cow, me an account with the reach of an amoeba. 3, what else are they looking at? Good question. I can't believe the FBI is policing jokes on Twitter. That's crazy," said Tiberius444. And this guy only has 1,600 followers. Let me stop for a second right here. Let me stop for a second. The misconception when I speak to people on platforms, like I recently in a video when I was talking to Super Sly, and I quasi predicted a terror attack in New York that would have been connected that was kind of connected to a black male YouTuber who consumed content related to the black manosphere, that consequently got said website that he was also a part of shut down permanently, and it's closed and it's gone forever with the FBI. I said never underestimate who may be watching your content. No matter what you may be saying, never underestimate who is consuming your content. No matter how big, how small you are, and what you're saying. I just showed you a list of people that the FBI from the San Francisco office sent Twitter. This is a list of accounts. If this applied to YouTube, that would be a list of YouTube accounts. If this was on Facebook, this would be a list of Facebook accounts. Big and small. Everybody here don't have 150,000 subscribers. The person I just pulled up only has 1,600 followers. Don't underestimate the level of interest you can draw from the government based on what you're posting on social media. This is why I say it is very important. It is imperative that you are careful about what you are promoting, with sharing, retweeting, liking, commenting on, and what you are creating via tweets, video uploads, shorts, TikToks, any form of media, short or long form content on social media, which is why I implore people to be careful. Not everything, as this person found out, I can't believe the FBI is policing jokes on Twitter. Not everybody is going to take your joke as a joke. Some people will take what you consider a joke as a preemptive act of terrorism or inciting violence, or whatever they use or whatever they choose to say. And they will go to these social media platforms and they will pick you and put your name on a list and say, hey, we need you to get rid of these accounts. So when you see accounts disappear at a certain time of the month, or all happens at one particular time, this is what happens. The government sends a list to the agency, the social media company, says, hey, you see these people on this list? We want you to get rid of them. The social media company, because for the most part, the government has these social media companies by the balls, and half these companies, they don't have a choice. They say, sure, boss, we gonna get rid of them for you. And guess what's gonna happen to your ass? 1,600 followers or 350,000 followers? You're out of there. So be careful what you say and what you promote on your platform, because you never know what agency is watching what you're saying and watching what you're doing to put you on a list to get rid of you. And if it's not because to get rid of you, it's to use you as evidence in another case. Be careful. Not everything is being considered a joke on the internet. But anyway. And in a letter to former Deputy General Counsel and former top FBI lawyer Jim Baker, as you see, Jim Baker comes up a lot in this, right? September 16th, 2022, legal exec Stacia Cardilli outlines results from her soon-to-be weekly meeting with the DHS, DOJ, FBI, and Office of Director of National Intelligence. Mind you, this is involving Twitter now. This isn't no spec ops, black ops shit. This is Twitter. You see those names? This is for Twitter, okay? There's a long email. I'm not reading all this. And listen, Massive Dynamic is always watching. Don't ever think because you're small, because your following's small, because your channel's small, because your content is... Don't ever think that something or someone may be watching what you're doing. Don't get that shit twisted at all. If you learn anything from these Twitter files, you learn one thing. At any given time, your information can be sent to from the government, can be sent to Twitter, and they can simply say, hey, him right here, you get him out of here. Get him out of here. And you out of there. And you are out of there. That's it. So be careful. Not everything is he, ha, ha. And I tried to explain that to so many people. Sometimes it don't get into people's head because they think, oh, it's just joking. Why would the government be watching us? You'll be surprised why the government is watching you, my boy. Be careful. That's all I can say. Be careful. It's not a conspiracy theory because we're showing you here tonight. It's not a conspiracy theory. Anything that you hear is a conspiracy theory is just something that is yet to be proven, but will be proven in the future. Message, anyway. Let's continue. What happened? Okay. Okay, the Twitter exec writes, she explicitly asked if there were impediments to the sharing of classified information with industry. The answer, FBI was adamant, no impediments to sharing exists. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but give me a break. We're going to let that run for a little bit. This passage underscores the unique one big happy family vibe between Twitter and FBI. With what other firm would the FBI lightly agree to no impediments to classified information? And that's a great point, right? What company would the FBI say, hey, you know what, this is classified? Send it all over, man. Don't worry about it, man. It's all good. We peoples, right? We peoples, right? You can go ahead and go ahead and send that over, man. It's all good. Go ahead, man. It's all good. It's classified, baby. But you cool with me. We cool. We people. So just go ahead and let's take a look at that. Holler at me later. Okay, just holler at me later. Right? That's fucking crazy with the FBI. Gene says, yep, with or without notice, you agreed to it via the TOS. And then again, they'll get you out of here without notice, no notice, without explanation, no explanation. They'll get you up out of here. Back doors everywhere now. The bottom of that letter, she lists a series of escalations apparently raised at the meeting, which were already handled. This domain got taken out? Okay. So they took that website down, whatever this was. About one, she writes, flagged a specific tweet on Illinois' use of modems to transmit election results in possible violation of the civic integrity policy, except they do use that tech in limited circumstances. Another internal letter from January 2021 shows Twitter execs processing the FBI list of possible violative content tweets. These tweets come from Comic Book Nerd, me please, BM Waits. To most tweets contain the same get out there and vote Wednesday trope and had low engagement. This is what the FBI spends its time on. So if you remember on the election day, the day before election, people saying, oh, go out and vote on Wednesday, right? It's like a little joke so that people go on the wrong day to vote. FBI took that fucking serious, right? Hold on. Let me see my voice. Let me see. Hold on. Test. Hello?
Test. Test. Test.
Test. Test. Test.
Test. Maybe the FBI took it so serious is because they knew how the events would turn out. And they needed all the reassurances that they wouldn't lose again.
I'm just saying. Maybe. Allegedly. Here's the tweet right here. Susan, the United We Stand. This is our future. So Cuomo wants to imprison suspected COVID carriers, forced vaccinations, blah, blah, blah. Things to hurt madmen. Well, if you're in Georgia, you better go vote Wednesday. There you go with the voice mods. In this March 2021 email, an FBI liaison asked a senior Twitter exec for the chance to speak to you and the team, then delivers a packet of products. It was great speaking to you and the team at Twitter last week. I wanted to flag a few products that were released today and earlier in the week that may be of assistance to Twitter. Let me know if you have any questions. The executive circulates the products, which are really DHS bulletins, stressing the need for greater collaboration between law enforcement and private sector partners. Please see the products of the FBI Office Public Sector. Russian malign influence, use of permissive social media platforms, heightened domestic violent extremism threat to persist in 2021. Iranian influence efforts primarily as use online tools to target U.S. audiences remain easily detectable for now. The ubiquity of the 2016 Russian interference story as stated pretext for building out the censorship machine can't be overstated. It's analogous. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. Give me a break. How 9/11 inspired the expansion of the security state. So we're not going. We already know that. If you're here, you follow along. I don't gotta explain 9/11 Patriot Act. I don't gotta explain that to y'all. While the DHS and its products pans permissive social media for offering operational advantages to Russians, it also explains the domestic violent extremism threat requires addressing information gaps. FBI in one case sent so many positive violative content reports, Twitter personnel congratulated each other in Slack for the monumental undertaking of reviewing them. Anyone need help reviewing the tweets forwarded in an FBI report on possible violative content? +1, we can help on Slack. Thank you all so much for your help. A monumental undertaking.
Test. Is we good, boss? Did we do a good job, boss? Boss, let me read this in the boss voice. Anyone need help reviewing the tweets forwarded in an FBI report on possible violative content? +1, we can help on Slack. We gonna help boss as much as he needs. Boss needs help. Tuesday, November 3rd. Thank you all so much for your help. A monumental undertaking. Boss needed help. We got the help that boss needed. We did an A1 job, team. Butter biscuits around the house.
Man, listen. This shit is crazy. There were multiple points of entry into Twitter for government flag reports. This letter from Agent Chan to Roth references Teleporter, a platform through which Twitter could receive reports from FBI. Twitter folks, I just got something hot off the presses today. Please be on the lookout for a Teleporter message from me with the 2 documents to download. Thanks. Reports also came from the different agencies. Here, an employee recommends balancing content based on evidence from DHS, etc. State governments also flag content. Right, Gene? You got it, boss. You got it, boss. Twitter, for instance, received reports via partner support portal, an outlet created by the Center for Internet Security, a partner organization of the DHS. Why was no action taken? Below, Twitter execs receive an alert from California officials by way of our partner support portal. Debate whether to act on a Trump tweet. Bro, I am not reading all of this. To clarify, is there asked for Twitter to review or to explain why no action was taken upon a previous review? Why no action was taken? The report came in through our support portal. California hired a pure Sleepy Joe Democrat form to count and harvest votes. No way Republicans get a fair shake. Lawyers get started. California's in big trouble. Vote Trump and watch the greatest comeback of all time. Also, New York, Illinois, go for it. Obviously, California did not like that. They sent a whole bunch of blah, 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 blah. You guys fucked up because you're supposed to do something about this and you didn't do anything about it. Here, a video was reported by the Election Integrity Project at Stanford, apparently on the strength of information from the Center of... It's a very long, legal, heavy video, but essentially it claims that PA election workers opened their inner envelopes on ballots before Election Day and called people to correct their ballots prior to Election Day. According to CIS, the video misrepresents PA law, the PA Supreme Court decision, and affidavits shown in the video details in the thread. Thoughts on how to handle this one. The law doesn't prohibit curing a ballot. It prohibits curing prior to 7 a.m. on Election Day. The offer misrepresents this by stating that the officials can't contact voters, whereas they can't do so until pre-canvassing starts. The offer misrepresents the the Pennsylvania Supreme Court decision by stating voters are not forbid from curing ballots. The PASC simply stated the law didn't require officials to offer an opportunity to cure on the affidavits. Bickety bloppity bloop, we're not wrong. Okay, that's what that means. So here's the problem. I'm losing my place with the tweets. Hopefully I can get them back. There we go. If that's confusing, it's also because the CIS is a DHS contractor, describes itself as partners with the Cyber Internet Security Agency, CISA, at the DHS. Fucking federal contractor. The EIP is one of the series of government-affiliated think tanks that mass review content, a list that also includes the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensics Research Laboratory and the University of Washington Center for Informed Policy. The takeaway that most people think of as the deep state is really a tangled collaboration of state agencies, private contractors, and sometimes state-funded NGOs. The lines become so blurred as to be meaningless. Twitter Files researchers are moving in a variety of new areas. Watch Barry Rice, Schellenberger. Okay. So that is Twitter Files Part 6, the FBI subsidiary. Let me know what you guys think now in the chat room, in the comment section below. Oh God, this is fucking crazy. I just want everybody to go to jail at this point. I just need everybody to go to fucking jail. Lock everybody up, B. Bro, lock everybody up, man. Lock all these people up, man. Okay, so that's 6. Let's see. So now we have this 2 parts. Okay, so you know what I want to do is this. What I want to do is this. Okay. What I want to do is this, bro. I had all these pieces lined up to do this piece. Thanks for beating me to it. Lock them all up. Share the stream. Nick, if you need any of these links to the tweets, you email me and I'll send you the links or whatever. I got more stuff to this, but I just, it's a lot. There's the child stuff here, so I got more stuff here. So if you need some of the links, send me an email. I'll send the links over to you if you don't have everything. let me just. So I think I'm gonna kind of wrap it up because the Trump stuff. I want to cover the Trump stuff. I want to cover the Trump stuff, but I think it'll be good just to cover the Trump stuff separately because it's wild and it's kind of separate from this at this point. Listen, I think these motherfuckers need to be locked up. I want to see everybody locked up, right? I don't care, like if the Republicans do their hearings and nobody gets locked up. Like I got a ton of stuff, but I hit you up if you're missing anything, hit me up, right? Because I probably have it. So if you're missing anything, hit me up. I probably have it. I think everybody should be locked up. Elon, that background is fire, right? Yeah, it's nice. Elon purchased a crime scene. Twitter, Jack Dorsey is not a victim in this as well. These Twitter executives all need to be in jail. They need to be persecuted. Twitter was an active violation, was an active violation of the First Amendment through the FBI. The FBI has been exposed as a criminal, constitutionally negligent organization. At this point, I don't even see the reason why we even have an FBI. They should just be disbanded because all they're doing now is using social media platforms to spy on the American citizens and to silence political opponents. And it's fucking nuts that social media companies have been obliging to this for so long. So you see this on Twitter. I already covered, Project Veritas already covered that Twitter communicates with YouTube. YouTube communicates with Facebook. And they have their own portal that they use to communicate to each other, to share this same information. At least prosecuted, if not locked up. Jack Dorsey knew what was happening. I think that's why he stepped down. Jack Dorsey was a puppet with no power, but Jack Dorsey, with his limited power that he did have, knew what was going on with FBI, knew what was going on with the Twitter executives, and chose to do nothing. Jack Dorsey is not a victim. Jack Dorsey is not innocent. Jack Dorsey needs to be locked up with everybody else. Drag his ass back up there to Capitol Hill with all these other CEOs and grill them. And just like how they just push forth information, the docket for trial for Trump or whatever, that same shit needs to happen to these CEOs and executives that worked at Twitter. Put them to trial for what they've done, because this is criminal. This is just criminal at this point. And with the NSA help, yes. Nixon, what's going on, Yumicon? Yep, shout out to Nick. This is, and for those that cry about, fascism, this is what fascism is. This is fascism in work. The government using the media and what we have now, the media and social media, to attack political opponents, to attack dissenters, and to silence the American people. That is what fascists do. And this has been a fascist operation from Twitter, from the FBI using Twitter. Twitter, what is it's a word that Slide mentions a lot, and I can't. It's a word when they prep somebody. The word leaves my mind right now. They were prepping all of the Twitter executives for the psyop and the propaganda from the Hunter laptop story. Even then, Yo Roth acknowledging the convenience of how everything was being laid out went along with the psyop and the propaganda through the FBI. A spook is going to spook. A spook is going to spook. It don't matter what the agency is, FBI, CIA, DOJ, DHS. A spook, grooming. There we go. There we go. Grooming. That's the word. Grooming. The FBI was grooming. The FBI was grooming the Twitter executives. Thank you, Nick. The FBI was grooming Twitter executives for a preemptive psyop and propaganda campaign to cover up a story that they themselves knew would affect the upcoming election. Mind you, all of this, oh yeah, that word is blocked on YouTube because it's not coming up on my app, but I see it. Mind you, all of this happened under Trump. The FBI expanded a whole division to harass American citizens on social media and the internet under Trump. So that doesn't go without saying. This happened under Trump. What's going on, Zero to Infinite? Like I said, this shit is nuts. I'm going to cover the removal of Trump tomorrow. I'm not going to do it tonight because I think the stream is going on long. I think I've been going for 2 hours. So 2 hours is kind of like my limit that I want to keep streams to most of the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another thumbnail. We're going to come back and we're going to solely cover Trump. The last two pieces I got are Trump and the supplemental documents after that. And that should wrap it up. And then I'll be up to date. Then I'll be up to date with the Twitter files at this time. This is, and again, everything you hear is not a conspiracy theory, as we have seen with the C-19 and the jibby jabby. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just a fact that is yet to be proven. The world is a crazy place, and it's getting crazier every year. Even if this isn't your wheelhouse, and you talk about completely other shit unrelated to this, it's something everyone should pay attention to, because in one way or another, it affects you. As a content creator, it definitely affects you. As a participant in social media, it affects you. None of this is not a nothing burger, right? This is pretty much as close as we could probably get to Watergate, right? This is as close as we can get to any controversial, monumental governmental oversight in the lives of the American people. This is as close as we'll get to another Snowden moment. These are multiple smoking guns. These are multiple smoking guns. And we'll see what the people with this information will do with it. Most will just go on like nothing happened, like it's a regular news story. Others will take heed and feel validated, and based on what they've gone through for the past couple of years. We'll see. It's been a while since we did this. But if you remember, when we hear this song, it's time to get up on out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a crazy one. And we're going to continue with this. We're going to continue talking about them getting rid of Trump, how that happened, the lies, the misinformation, the confusion, the disinformation, how the FBI was involved with it, how they colluded with social media, how he wasn't inciting violence, legally stated he wasn't inciting violence. It's crazy. It's a fucking shit show. But until next time, thank you, goodbye, and good night.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I'm a big YouTuber.